Welcome! In this explainer, we're diving deep into a really critical choice you'll face when applying for an individual taxpayer identification number. You know, an ITIN.
Now that might sound a little dramatic, right? But for a whole lot of people, this isn't some hypothetical nightmare. It's exactly what the standard ITIN application process can feel like.
Okay, so let's get right into it and talk about what I call the ITIN Passport Problem. It's the whole reason we're having this conversation. So, first things first, what exactly is an ITIN? Well, think of it as a special tax number. It's issued by the IRS, and it's for anyone who needs to file U.S. taxes, but doesn't have and can't get a Social Security number. It's purely for taxes, nothing else. Okay, so here's the default way of doing things. You package up your original passport, yeah, the real deal, and you mail it off to the IRS. And then you wait and wait. The official timeline says 9 to 11 weeks. But believe me, if you're overseas or it's tax season, it can be way longer. We're talking months without your passport. That's a huge risk, not to mention a massive headache. But here's the good news. You don't have to do that. You don't have to take that risk. The IRS knows this is a problem, so they've actually created 2 official alternatives to get your documents checked in person. All right, let's look at option number 1. This one involves going straight to the source, the IRS itself. The IRS has these things called Taxpayer Assistance Centers, or TACs. And at some of them, you can actually book an appointment, walk in, and have an IRS employee look at your documents, verify them, and hand them right back to you. Boom, done. No mailing, no risk of it getting lost. Sounds perfect, right? Well, here's the catch. And it's a big one. Yes, it's totally free, which is awesome, but getting an appointment can be a real challenge. First, there aren't that many of these centers in the US. Second, you absolutely need an appointment, and you might be waiting for weeks or even longer just to get in the door. Okay, so that's the IRS option. Now let's talk about the other way, what I like to call the professional solution. So what we're talking about here is a certifying acceptance agent, or CAA. You can think of them as an expert, like an accountant or a law firm, that the IRS has officially blessed and authorized to check your documents for them. They're basically acting as a trusted proxy for the IRS, so you don't have to send your passport to the government. And the process is just brilliant. You meet with a CAA, and this can be in the US or even in other countries. They look at your passport, and that's it. You keep your documents, they never leave your site. The agent then sends in your application with a special certificate of accuracy that basically tells the IRS, hey, I've checked this person out, they're legit. All right, now that we know the players, let's put them side by side. But hang on, before we do that, there's a huge critical point we have to cover. This is something that gets so many applications rejected right off the bat. The IRS is, let's just say they're very particular about copies. If you don't send your original passport, the only other thing they'll accept is a certified copy. And that doesn't just mean any old copy. It has to be a copy made by the same agency that issued your passport in the first place. They put an official stamp or seal on it, certifying it's an exact replica. And please hear this. A notarized copy is not the same thing. Getting a notary public to stamp a copy of your passport means nothing to the IRS. They will reject it, period. It's probably the single biggest mistake people make, and it leads to an automatic denial. Okay, so this chart really puts it all in perspective. You've got the TAC on one side, CAA on the other. Cost, TAC is free. CAA is fee-based. No-brainer there, right? But look at document security. With a TAC, it's high. You get it back the same day. With a CAA, it's the highest because your passport never ever leaves your possession. Then there's availability. TACs are limited, US only, hard to get an appointment. CAAs, they're all over, even internationally. And maybe most importantly, look at expertise. A TAC just verifies your document. A CAA helps with the entire application and can even follow up with the IRS for you. It's a totally different level of service. But this isn't just about feeling safe or saving time. It really comes down to one thing. What's the best way to actually get your ITIN approved? Let's look at the numbers. Think about this. In just 1 year, 2023, the IRS rejected over 250,000 ITIN applications. That's a huge number. It tells you right away that this process is anything but simple, and a lot of people are getting it wrong. And here's the kicker. Right from the Taxpayer Advocate Service, that's the IRS's internal watchdog, they found that if you use a CAA, you are 15% more likely to get approved. And the reason why it's so important, it's not just about the passport. It's because the CAA is an expert who checks your entire application package. They find the little mistakes on the forms that would otherwise get you rejected. And when you look at it this way, the numbers are just wow. If you use a CAA, your success rate is almost 86%. If you mail it in yourself, it drops below 69%. Let me put that another way. Your chance of rejection more than doubles if you go it alone. And it's almost always because of simple, preventable errors that an expert would have caught. So, after all that, how do you figure out which path is the right one for you? Let's boil it all down. A TAC might be the right call for you if you're already in the US, your situation is super straightforward, and you absolutely cannot spend any money. But you should really consider a CAA if you're outside the US, if the thought of losing your passport keeps you up at night, or, and this is the big one, if you just want to give yourself the best possible shot at getting approved the first time. So in the end, it really comes down to this single question. You're basically choosing between a free option with a much higher chance of failure and a paid service with a much higher chance of success. It's not just about money versus no money. It's about weighing the cost of the service against the cost of delays, the stress of rejection, and having to start this whole thing from scratch. So the real question is, which one of those risks are you willing to take?